dumb as a shit fuck, you know, cringe tour, etc., etc.
$7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
I eat extra sharp, that's what I eat.
That will enhance our underlying effort to accommodate the Russian oligarchs and make sure we take their ill-begotten gains. We're going to accommodate them. We're going to seize their yachts, their luxury homes, and other ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. The guys who are the kleptocracy.
I mean, the fossil fuel industry, they weigh in so significantly. I mean, how could it be? I mean, how could it be? How could it be?
Unbelievable.
This country needs a strong Republican Party. Pelosi saying this country needs a strong Republican Party. Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party. Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
Retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet. I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves how to take a position. You're not like
And then they have cans of soup. Soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup for my family. They're so innocent. This is soup for my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup for my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people. There was no response. They didn't have one for that. No, it's very sad. Very sad. I went in yesterday and there was a television screen, and I said, this is genius.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Can you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
Testing. Is it? Hello? Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Oh. Max is sitting on the bed. Hi, Max. How you doing? He's doing okay. Is this thing on? Hello, users, and welcome to another episodic installation of the goddamn. I'm here once again, live. We are here, live, once again. So we are here, and we're live here now. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. We got goddamn Real on first. Got Dead End Joker not first. Too late. We got goddamn Mila who needs to respond to my direct message. We got Sal. We got Tyler. We got the CIA. We got Paladin. We got Abner. We got Bob. We got Courtney. We got... Is that it? Is that everyone? We got Joseph of the Mud. These motherfuckers. Alright, so, welcome to the show today. I am here... once again, I'm here to do a program, and so hopefully everyone is having a good day. I'm having a good day, and I'm spinning in my chair, and, I'm spinning, and, I'm in my chair, right now, so, that's what I'm doing. Anyway, we got a show, today, and, today's the show, for, today, And so, let's start the show, shall we? What should we start with? What should we start with? Start with this. The A crew in chat. More like the B crew. This is the crew that's like, the goddamn B crew. Anyway. I'm gonna drink my coffee. Got B for Bob, part of the B crew. Who else here has a B name? No one? So got B for Bob. All right. So I've got this thread here on Twitter that has a lot of very good information in regards to the latest scandal going on in the United States that, in my opinion, is unreported. And so I'm reading a Twitter thread here from Helena Botmiller-Evick on Twitter. And this is in regards to the infant formula shortage that has been developing in this country really since the pandemic began, but it's been escalating over this year, over 2022. And so this thread kind of gives us a little bit more of an analysis of why this is happening, what's happening, and how bad it is now, and how bad it might get in the future. So I want to, read this thread for y'all. If anyone in my audience has children that, need baby formula and you have an experience that you'd like to share, feel free to let me know. And I'll try to echo your experience in this video. Thread on the infant formula shortage situation, which feels like a slow-moving train wreck. First, retail stock has been rocky for months. It was already bad over the holidays. Then a big recall plus plant shutdown in February made it worse. Let me zoom in here so the text is larger. I love large text. The retail data on the current supply situation varies. A custom analysis by Data Assembly found that over the past 2 weeks, the out-of-stock percentage for baby formula nationwide increased from 31 to 40%. That is the chart that is visible here. Now, again, this is not good. I mean, I don't know. Nearly half of baby formula is just gone. The supply is just gone. That's not good. I know I've got people in my family that just had a kid a couple of years ago. I don't even know when that was. I don't know. The kid's like 1 or 2 or something. I think they're 1. I don't know. But anyway, sometimes I would go to the grocery store with them. And this was like a year ago. So, and I know that every time we went to get baby formula, they would be very low in supply. And that was a year ago. So I can only assume it's significantly worse, though I'm not going to the grocery store these days, so. The data set also found a lot of regional variability. As of April 24, there were 6 states that had baby formula out-of-stock rates higher than 50%. Iowa, South Dakota, and North Dakota were 50 to 51%. Missouri was 52. Texas was 53. Tennessee was 54. Interesting, by the way, that these are all Republican stronghold states. However, not all data suggests outages this high. At Erie Worldwide, which pulls information directly from retailers, found the average in-stock rate is currently about 79% across the United States, far below the pre-pandemic norms of 95%, but not critically low. The severity of the shortage appears to differ greatly based on where you live, plus which retailer you shop at. Of course, none of this macro data matters at all if you're a parent who can't get to what you need. It's beyond stressful. This should not be happening. And now, again, really the thing here that is really important is, the chances of you not being able to feed your baby, right now, I said, you're going to go to the store, you're out of food, you just got paid, and you're going to go get formula today, and then you go there, and they're gone, right? And then, every store you go to is gone. The chance of that happening is not too high right now, but it could be in the future, 6 months from now, 12 months from now. It could be that your entire city might be out, right? Like, and also keep in mind that we've got this whole abortion crisis going on with the laws in regards to Roe v. Wade. And so, again, Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett wants to increase the supply of domestic infant supply, or domestic infant production, or whatever the fuck she said. She wants to increase the, quote, domestic infant supply. That's the quote. Meanwhile, we're experiencing a baby formula shortage, right? But again, the important part is the stress, right? You go to one store and they're out. Maybe you'll go to the next store and you're fine and you're good for that day. But then you're thinking in the back of your mind, it's a possibility. What if there's an emergency? You go to the store and you can't get it, right? And then this anxiety starts to build in your mind. And that's really the extremely painful part of this. And again, if you look at this data here, this is on a bad trajectory, right? We are going in the wrong direction, right? So if people are experiencing anxiety right now, it's only going to get worse by all metrics that we're seeing right here. We do not have good answers for why the infant formula supply chain was already so strained before the massive February recall. More on that situation later. Other than the same strains on everything right now, tight supplies, labor, transportation, etc. One thing I bet we'll hear about, the infant formula industry is extremely consolidated, but is often left out of the antitrust convo. Is the supply chain we have resilient, ? Per David Dayan, as of 2018, 4 companies, Abbott, Reckitt, Ben Kaiser, Nestle, and Perrigo, 4 companies with 5 names or something, controlled about 89% of the U.S. market. The antitrust agency should definitely take a look. He writes, 89% of the market, this is before the pandemic, is controlled by just a couple of companies. Like, again, and now, right, those, if any one of those companies falters, right, that's a huge chunk of the market. If 2 of those companies falter, that's like half the market. So we already had a highly consolidated, rocky supply chain. The situation was then exacerbated by a massive February recall sparked by 4 reports of Chronobacter sakazaki, a bacteria that causes rare but deadly infections in babies. 2 infants died. Now again, imagine, right, there's a formula shortage, right? You go to another fucking grocery store, whatever you're getting your shit at, right? You get some, and then it's infected with some bacteria, and your kid dies, right? That's fucking insane. Like, that is fucking insane. All 4 infants who were hospitalized consumed formula produced at an Abbott nutrition plant in Sturgis, Mich. This plant made a huge chunk of the U.S. formula supply. The plant has been shut down since mid-February as the FDA and company negotiate how to best reopen it. I imagine that reopening this plant has been made much more difficult by everything that has come out about Abbott's allegedly poor food safety practices and management. Standing water, equipment in disrepair, improper macro testing. FDA also found 5 strains of Chronobacter. The incident has raised questions about the rigor of FDA's routine inspections of infant formula plants. The FDA was in this plant in September 2021, the very week the first case was reported to the agency. The inspection did not warrant regulatory action. This is something that also we need to talk about when it comes to food inspection, right? Most of the time, right, I know we're supposed to have like a snap inspection system, right, where like a food inspector will come in just really like out of nowhere, but we live in a society where oftentimes a lot of these companies will either have, if there is a SNAP food inspection, they'll have a protocol, right? So there's always going to be a supply that they take, like there's like, let's say they always have like one like small percentage of their thing that they really, rigorously test, right? Just so that if the FDA comes over, they can show them the best batch or whatever. Oftentimes though, the FDA will give them notice ahead of time, right? People will have someone else and someone calls someone on the phone. Hey, the FDA is planning on making a SNAP visit at some point next week. So get all your shit together, right? And then they, increase production standards and safety for just a week. And then they go back to, what it was beforehand after the inspection. And again, these inspections are like, they certify them for X amount of months or years, right? So you go in, right? And then you immediately, there is no more dangerous time right, in food than right after the FDA inspection, because they're not going to inspect you twice in the matter of like 12 hours, right? So as soon as they're gone, as soon as they walk out the door, they drop all safety standards. And this is something that happens in food industries, or in the food industry, in restaurants, fast food restaurants, right, so forth, grocery stores, all of that kind of stuff. And so it's not exclusive to baby formula, but I'm sure that they've got some issues there too. But the real doozy came in late April. That is last month, when we learned that a whistleblower, an employee who used to work at the Sturgis plant, had warned top FDA officials about food safety concerns at this very plant in October of 2021, months before 2 babies died. So the FDA got this warning in October, but did not interview the whistleblower until December. FDA didn't inspect the plant until January 31. Formula was recalled February 17. It was a massive recall, including Similac, the top brand in the United States. Again, y'all, this is not good. This is not good. Why would the FDA take so long? Are they understaffed? Are they underpaid? If so, we need to be funding the FDA, right? This is a conversation we need to be having at a national scale. How come it takes the FDA 3 months to follow up on whistleblower complaints? It should take them 3 days, if that. It should take them 3 hours to have someone sent out after a whistleblower tries to inform them of some very bad stuff. There are so many questions here about Abbott's corporate food safety culture and responsibility, about the FDA's and CDC's competence, about why this industry is so consolidated and apparently vulnerable. One very urgent thing that's been almost completely lost in the media coverage: this plant is also believed to have held a near monopoly of the production of certain specialized formulas that are used by thousands of people with unique medical needs. Now, this is, again, another really important thing. Not all babies are equal. In the same way that not all people are equal, some people have food allergies, right, and so forth. A lot of those allergies, how do they discover that they have those allergies? Well, they're given a certain formula when they're young. They find out that they have a really bad reaction to that. They go to the doctor. They, this formula causes this. It has this ingredient. This is probably the source of the allergy. So this means that, of the list of 5 formulas or 20 formulas, whatever it is, right now you only can do like the low iron one or like the high iron one, right, which makes it even more of a consolidated market, which means you are even more held, in contempt by these corporations that have monopolies on this kind of stuff, right? It's really bad. It's really fucking bad. So let's keep going. The supply situation for these families is truly urgent and potentially life-threatening. I've been on the phone with parents crying in desperation over not being able to source the formula that their child truly needs to survive. And again, this is another thing. A lot of people love to say, oh, just breastfeed, just breastfeed. First of all, right, it's not that simple. A lot of mothers cannot actually breastfeed at the capacity that the child needs, right? Just it's, biology, right? And then also, again, imagine your child has a unique allergy that you don't have, or, something that in your breast milk causes an allergic reaction, then you are literally forced to use formula, right? So this is a situation, I know, it's a lot of ignorant ass motherfuckers that would say that stuff, but I just want to point that in there. Many of these families feel totally abandoned by Abbott, by the government, and by the media for largely ignoring this desperate situation affecting many people with special needs. Chances are, if you're watching this stream, this might be the first time you've ever heard of this. I've been, I've heard of this as of a couple months ago when the recall happened, but, I should have maybe talked about it then. But either way, here we are getting to it now. If this doesn't get fixed soon, I don't know how my son will survive, said Phoebe Carter, whose 5-year-old son John, a nature lover and paleontologist in training, has a severe form of eosinophilic esophagitis, a rare digestive and immune system disease. If, God forbid, a family member of President Joe Biden or Jeff Bezos or someone influential had one of these diseases, this crisis would not have made it to day 2, Carter said. I doubt that. They would have just hoarded everything for themselves and said, fuck everyone else. That's what would have happened. But, I understand their perspective. So as the formula shortage story continues, please do keep in mind that this has been brewing for months, and please do not lose sight of those with special medical needs who are understandably scared right now. So, very good thread, really informative. And again, this is like the food supply issue in general in this country is going to get really bad. It's been progressively getting worse over the last year, especially, but the last 2 years with the pandemic, right? But again, when it comes to specialized stuff like infant formula, right? Certain kinds of foods, like maybe like people that have gluten allergies, they need to have like, gluten-free kind of stuff. And, once people with these like very consolidated markets get, fucked up, people like their entire diets are going to have to change. Again, people have already died. It's just a big problem. So, yeah, no good. By the way, also, we need to increase the domestic infant supply, according to the Supreme Court. We need more babies. We need to bring them into the world so that they die in the arms of their parents. Because it's easier, right, to have your child be born and then to care for your child and have them die in your arms than it is to just get an abortion, right? So we know that. But again, this country is falling apart. We live in a fascist hell world, but, what are you going to do? People aren't really talking about how white supremacist nativist to domestic infant supply law. I mean, it's fucked up. I mean, it's just like, it's 14 words, but in 3 words, right? It's just like, it's literally neo-Nazi. It's not even neo-Nazi, it's just Nazi. It's just Adolf Hitler's, like, like, it's just his ideology, copy pasted, right? There's no updates. There's no, it's just copy and paste what Hitler's doing. There we go. Goddamn Mila. Oh, God. Okay. Do you want me to, like, read your context out on the stream, too? Mila's got a story she wants to share with the rest of the class. Like, do you want me to read this to myself, or do you just want me to read your add-on as part of a segment? Am I drinking coffee? Just tell me, please. I want to know. Goddamn Bodan, like, settle the fuck down, motherfucker. Bodan's first message. Are you drinking coffee? Just tell me, please. I want to know. No good morning. No hi, how are you? Right? No, oh, what a great day to be alive. Thanks for streaming. Just immediately. Please tell me, please. What are you? This motherfucker. This motherfucker. I can't with this guy. Let's go, Bodan. I agree. Holy shit. Let's go, Bodan. I agree. All right. Please read the context out loud. All right, y'all. Milo wants to share something with the rest of the class. Hey, everyone. My name is Bodan, and I'm alive. That's good to hear. All right. So here we have an article that was requested for me to read by the lovely chat user, Mila Rasan. This is called Pacifica Radio is in a war over democracy. Its members are fighting for her survival. And so before I read this article, Mila has blessed me with some context for this. And so I want to read Mila's context that she has in my direct messages. Pacifica is a listener-funded California not-for-profit corporation with assets valued at over $120 million. It is the oldest independent non-commercial media network in the United States. Pacifica owns and manages 5 non-commercial FM radio stations in 5 of the top 10 media markets, with signals potentially reaching over 60 million listeners. Mila, can you get me a radio show? Can we set this up? Can we get Above It All on air? AIAOA? About 20 years ago, Pacifica listeners banded together and won a lawsuit that allowed listeners to become members and to embark in an experiment in media democracy. As you might imagine, corrupt individuals have worked overtime to undermine the project and seize power. I, this is Mila speaking, am also an elected staff representative from Pacifica's Los Angeles radio station, KPFK. So, I'm on the local station board and also on the Pacifica National Board Elections Committee. So, Mila, can I get a radio show? Is that what I'm learning here? Anyway, let's read this article This is by the Pacifica members, supporters, board delegates, et al. So Mila says that she had a part in writing this. So everyone, shout outs to Mila. By a certified vote of 6,820 to 5,471, 55 to 45%, the Pacifica Network's membership has voted to adopt new bylaws. The membership and staff of KPFA, KPFK, and KPFT have overwhelmingly supported the new bylaws. It's amazing. But an entrenched minority has refused to accept the bylaw results as mandated by the membership, undermining the network's future. Oh no. That's not what I like to hear. The rejection of the overwhelming listener mandate to implement the new bylaws has deeply alienated that membership majority, which is historically, Mila, what's going on here? Historically, activist, pro-democracy constituency. The anti-democratic rejection of Pacifica membership's demand by a minority clique has further ruined the reputation of Pacifica and consequently worsened its finances. Oh no. That's no good. That's no good. Amidst a serious financial crisis, the donor base has been alienated by Pacifica's legal team's refusal to disclose how much of the listenership's money it has spent suing against the implementation of bylaws mandated by that same listenership. So they're using the membership money to hire lawyers to sue the members? That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy shit. Goddamn. Pacifica's legal team has also used membership donations to fund intimidating legal threats against supporters of democracy at Pacifica. To add insults to injury, in a recent KPFK local board election, Pacifica's legal team arbitrarily eliminated, quote, disappeared 4 candidates. Wait, whoa. Mila, you wrote this article. Where's the second quote? There's only one quotation mark there. Mila, come on. I'm sorry, I know. Just that look. 4 candidates after vote, in fact, I'm going to take the highlight away so people don't have to stare at that. 4 candidates after votes were cast with no recourse for the candidates or the members who voted for them. The raw vote count in this KPFK election showed that all 4 candidates eliminated by the Pacifica legal team were in fact duly elected to the KPFK board by the membership. This is like some fucking Green Party or People's Party shit. That's crazy. One pro-democracy candidate duly elected to the KPFK board was intimidated by the Pacifica legal team's actions and dropped out, despite having legitimately won a seat. Sadly, another, the great Will Ryan, has deceased. Oh, that's unfortunate. But some of the current members, quote unquote, well, there's actually 2 quotes here, of the KPFK board, possibly including the chair, were not duly elected. Those who were democratically chosen by the membership stand ready to take their rightful seats. Amidst rampant mismanagement, which prompted the votes for the bylaws change in the first place, the network's listenership, influence, and credibility as a pro-democracy institution have been severely damaged. Yet, the Pacifica legal team consistently bullies those who question the network's current state with intimidation and public contempt, in direct violation of Pacifica's peaceful, nonpartisan mandate. Such activities, paid for with donor funds, mock the nonviolent pro-democracy mandates of the network's founders and the core beliefs of what's left of its progressive constituency. Without approval from the Pacifica membership, the legal team refused arbitration, to which it had previously agreed, deeply polarizing the Pacifica community, costing the network as yet undisclosed sums of donor money, while further undermining its reputation as a progressive organization. It sounds like they're in full-blown self-destruct mode. I'm drinking coffee, by the way. Yes, this is my coffee cup. If you're seeing this cup, it's coffee. I got a dedicated coffee cup. Amidst public challenges, Pacifica has failed to investigate a dubious 99% outcome, hardly viewed as credible among objective observers, at an election involving 131 alleged WBAI staff. The odd outcome was wrongly used to overturn the clear Democratic mandate for new bylaws registered by 6,820 network members versus 5,471, again 55 to 45%, further undercutting Pacifica's credibility and functioning as a democratically run organization. To regain its listenership, its ability to function, its financial standing, and its credibility as a pro-democracy progressive media institution, Pacifica must honor the mandate of its membership for new bylaws. It must also honor the democratic vote of KPFK's membership by seating all of its duly elected but disappeared board members. Mila's doing some investigative journalism. I'm proud of you, Mila. Let's keep going. To regain, I already read that. No, I didn't. To regain the network's public credibility and its financial balance, the Pacifica legal team must make public its detailed billings for the past 3 years. It must submit all proposed future billings to the local station boards and the national boards for pre-approval. It must immediately be replaced with a legal team that is genuinely nonpartisan, that is pledged to transparency in its billing and to neutrality in its service to the network's internal governance. You can't just use fucking donor money to hire lawyers that are, like, you hire specifically, like, anti-donor lawyers, right? Like, so in the hiring process, you're like, yep, you're on my team, fuck these guys, right? Like, it's just like, I don't know, man. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Upcoming board elections must be held as mandated. Despite predictable resistance from the entrenched Pacifica minority, there must be no self-extending terms of or cancellations of elections. But opponents of a new election, which is mandated by Pacifica's rules, clearly fear being democratically voted out of power. They claim that there is no money to conduct the election while refusing to disclose how much money has been spent by their attorney in opposition to the democratically endorsed new Pacifica bylaws. This is not acceptable, 2 exclamation points. I agree with that. We are fighting for the network's democracy and for its future. We will keep you posted. For over 70 years, Pacifica has been a beacon of hope and inspiration, a guiding light to challenge the status quo and its corrupt authoritarianism. The Pacifica Foundation must not succumb and yield to tyranny of a clique of power grabbers on the local and national boards. And so this was signed, including Mila Rason of the Above It All chat room. So shout outs to Mila. Thank you for sharing with us. And that's fucked up. That's fucked up. And I don't know. This is just another example of how, like, capitalism is just like a failure, right? Like, even when people start capitalistic entities, right, with the best of possible intentions, right, one wrong move and that shit falls apart like a house of cards. And it's really unfortunate. But also, Mila, can you give me a radio show? Is that happening? Is that possible? I don't know. But anyway, thank you, Mila, for sharing. Oh, there's a part at the end that I didn't read loud. Okay. No, now is not the time to give up on Pacifica, nor is it time to give up on the promise of democracy and Pacifica governance. Please, we must support our irreplaceable media treasure, which is Pacifica, and insist upon impartial and fair 2022 delegate elections. Down with tyranny. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exclamation points from Mila. This was Mila's contribution to the article. Thank you, Mila. There you go. Now can I get that radio show? My apologies. My brain defaults to ignoring bold text because it's usually like... Bold text is usually like fucking like, you know, in most articles it's like, this is a legal thing, or here's, you can donate here, or, you know, it's like, a, you know, my brain just defaults to ignoring it. Anyway... Goddamn Mila. I hope reading that didn't bore the class to death. No, I think it's an important issue. assuming I can get on this radio station. If that's not going to happen, I mean, honestly, it's a waste of my time and everyone else's time. And honestly, I'm going to delete the VOD so that no one ever watches this just because... No, I'm just... Bold text is usually an annoying ad. Yeah, see, Bodan knows what's going on. Let's go, Bodan. And on this one, I sincerely agree. Let's go, Mila. I agree. Oh. Goddamn. All right, speaking of goddamn. So, y'all, got a little tale to tell you. In fact, let me open up something else here. So this is, okay. So this is a woozy. Coinbase warns users could lose their crypto holdings if the company goes bankrupt. So, now, real quick, if anyone ever finds this, right, and they're a crypto person, if you hold your money on exchanges, you're a dumbass. Like, I get it if you're like, you know, if you're a trader, right, you know, and you just want to leave it in there overnight or whatever. But if you're like buying cryptocurrency with the intent to hold it for a long term or a long period of time, and you are holding it on an exchange that is not your cryptocurrency, if it's not your keys, it's not your Bitcoin, motherfucker. But anyway, let's read. By the way, well, I'll get into the best part about this very soon. Coinbase, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges, said its users might lose access to their holdings if the company ever went bankrupt. The disclosure was included in the company's first quarter earnings report, and that was the first time the risk factor was mentioned. It also noted that Coinbase held $256 billion in fiat currencies and virtual coins. Now, once again, if you know anything about bankruptcy law, you would know that this is a no-brainer. Like, this is not like... Just to be very clear, this is not anything like, it's not Coinbase. Is it like, Binance doesn't have this problem, or Kraken? No, they all have this problem. That's the point of exchanges. When exchanges go under, you lose access to your shit, right? That's just how it is. So it's not like, this isn't like Coinbase is exclusively problematic, and other companies do not have those issues, right? This is a problem in crypto as a whole, and that's why I endorse crypto regulation. In the sense that people should be able to have things like FDIC insurance. If Coinbase wants to act like a bank, which that's their kind of thing. They're called Coinbase. They want to act as a crypto bank. They should have rights to have FDIC regulations and so forth, and that's why I support that. Because custodially held crypto assets may be considered to be the property of a bankruptcy estate. In the event of a bankruptcy, the crypto assets we hold in the custody on behalf of our customers could be subject to bankruptcy proceedings, and such customers could be treated as a generally unsecured creditors. Now, again, the language here could, right? You know, it's possible that the day before bankruptcy, they give everyone an email, take your fucking crypto out now, right? We're going to go bankrupt tomorrow, right? So, you know, there's ways to go about that. That means users would lose access to the balances because they would become Coinbase's property. It's a different scenario from the traditional investments. Many bank accounts, including checking and savings, are insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation for up to $250,000 per account if the bank goes under, while the Securities Investor Protection Corp helps if a broker or dealer goes bankrupt. Crypto enthusiasts have long heralded the decentralized movement as, in part, a way to give people complete control and ownership of their finances. That's only the case for those who physically store their cryptocurrency in personal wallets. I don't know what the word physically is doing there. You can have a crypto wallet that's not a physical device. I don't know why the word physically is there, but I don't know. As opposed to a platform like Coinbase, Coinbase does offer a self-custody wallet called Coinbase Wallet. Following the earnings report, which sent the company's stock plummeting more than 23%, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong said there's no risk of bankruptcy right now. Anyway, you can read the rest of that if you want. But let's take a look at Coinbase's stock performance since it went public. This happened last year during the big crypto boom last year, May 2021. Bada boom. That was a great time to be alive. So Coinbase goes public at approximately $350 a share. It's $342 a share. And now 1 year later, like, have you ever seen a stock drop this much? I mean, this is a stock. I want to remind everyone, Coinbase is a public company with a publicly traded stock. This is not a cryptocurrency that represents Coinbase. This is on the stock market. Down 84% on the year to year. So from May 21 to May 22, it is down 84%. That is epic. I have to tell you, that is epic. I couldn't possibly, in words that exist in the human language, I couldn't possibly summarize this in any other word than epic. Now let's assume, right, just for the sake of argument, let's assume crypto takes off again. I mean, it has historically every time since Bitcoin has really been, traded since like 2011 or 2010, really. It's gained that kind of, volatility, right? Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies go up and down 80, 90% all the time. I remember back in 2017, there was a big rally, and then 2018 and 2019 and 2020, the markets cratered, shit went down 90%. And then 2021 happens, right? That shit goes up like, fucking 10, 20x. Bitcoin went up like, I think Bitcoin went up like 20x over the course of 2020 to 2021, right? So I don't know, man. This could be a pretty good opportunity if you're a stock person and you're not a crypto person and you want to invest in the crypto market, right? But in a way that you're insured. Hey, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to sell you Coinbase stock. I mean, I'm staying the fuck away from this one for now. But I'm just saying, down 84%. That is epic. I don't know what to tell you. But again, this article, this is being reported in media like, oh, crypto bros taking L's. I mean, this is this isn't anything to do with Coinbase. This is just every exchange is under the same situation. It's just that Coinbase is being honest and transparent about it, which in my opinion, to be honest with you, makes me respect Coinbase more, right? Because they're being honest and open, and they're saying, yes, the regulations that would protect you are not here. And if you want them, advocate for them. If you don't want them, whatever. Some people would prefer if they don't have regulations, I guess, right? But again, every crypto exchange is in the same position. Binance, Kraken, all these other fucking shithole exchanges, they're all in the same position. It's just Coinbase is being honest about it, right? But again, people that don't understand how crypto works, they're parading this around as if this is some unique L or something. But I think everyone that is involved in cryptocurrency, or at least I hope everyone is involved in cryptocurrency, understands that if you don't have your keys, then you don't have your currency, right? It's just you have like Chuck E. Cheese tokens on the Coinbase internal exchanges, right? And then you can take out you can cash them in for prizes if you want in regards to, pulling your crypto into your own wallet, or you can just leave them in there and hope they don't go bankrupt. But if Coinbase were to go bankrupt, I guarantee you that they would announce that ahead of time and allow people to properly be able to withdraw their stuff. And again, let's just also note that this isn't just a crypto thing. Look at Steam. What happens if Steam goes down? Gaming platform. What happens if, look at these situations with Xbox and PlayStation online stores, right? People buy video games on their PlayStation Network or their Xbox Live arcade accounts or whatever. I don't know if they still call it the arcade. I don't know. I'm old. But they buy games, and then the servers go down, and they can no longer download their games. What happens if Steam goes down? I don't know about you, but my Steam account, I got a lot of video games on it. I've had my Steam account for a long time. I got a lot of video games on it. If Steam goes down, those games are lost. I don't have them. I don't own the game. I technically bought a license to rent the game from them anytime I want, as long as the company is solvent, right? So if Steam disappears, theoretically, they have said they would give us a heads up and let us download anything that we want with DRM free. That's what they've said. But did they have to do that? Not necessarily, right? And so, again, this is a problem that permeates a lot of our online digital culture. But, there you go. That's Coinbase being honest. And also, holy shit, this is epic. This is epic. I mean, actually, their stock price is going up in the last... people are listening to my show, and they're taking They're taking financial advice from my show. Look at this. Look, it's going up. Who are the motherfuckers? Who's doing it? Look at this. Since I started talking about this story, there's some big money in my chat. Who the fuck is moving the price up? I gotta get in. I gotta get in. I think the problem is how many people actually know these things like you. I would assume everyone involved in the crypto space knows that. That's my assumption. Like, why would you get involved in cryptocurrency if you don't know that it's gambling? Like, who is getting involved in cryptocurrency who's never heard of stock markets before? Like, I don't know. I feel like that's a little infantilizing. What is the word? Infantilizing? I don't know. But, like, to assume that people that get involved in gambling don't know what they're doing, I don't know. I think most of the time people know what they're doing and do it anyway. And normies who lost a bunch of money, I mean, it happens. You know, people invest in stocks all the time and lose all their money. So it's just the society we live in. I don't think there's anything special or unique about crypto that makes it any worse than any other aspect of society. Nintendo's cutting off the 3DS store, exactly. But what if you bought all your games digitally? This is why I'm a retro gamer, right? Like, I mean, I have a Steam account, right? I buy some new games every once in a while, but like, fucking Sony is not going to take away my right to play Rayman on PS1, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Nintendo is not going to take away my right to play goddamn Mega Man, right? Fucking, they're not going to. Why? Because I have the disc and I have a system that is disconnected from the internet and I can just put the disc in that system anytime and get it to work, right? So, I think there's a lot of problems with how capitalism, copyright, and all this stuff is meeting the digital age, and it results in a lot of lost art. But that's, slightly separate from cryptocurrencies. A guy I worked with didn't fully understand it was gambling. I mean, then they're stupid. I personally say, if you are going to spend money on the stock market or spend money on cryptocurrency or spend money in Las Vegas, and you don't know that there's a chance that you're not going to get that money back, you're an idiot. And I'm fine with saying that. I don't think that, I'm not going to pretend like every human being who has money is like a baby. I'm not Hank Hill and you're Bobby Hill, right? And I'm telling you, well, this is how to be personally responsible with your money. I'm not like, if you have money and you spend it, people spend money on stupid fucking shit all the time. Do people make Twitter accounts, like people who got scammed by Coca-Cola every time someone bought a Coca-Cola and then they drank it and then got fat or something? Like, oh, they got scammed. I mean, that's just as accurate as people that get quote unquote scammed by fucking cryptocurrency. It's just that the people who make fun of people who get scammed by cryptocurrency are the people who are getting scammed by Coca-Cola and other stuff, right? So everyone's getting scammed. It's called living in fucking capitalism, right? This idea that using crypto is a unique scam, it's just complete uneducation on the society we live in. I don't know, man. If someone's drinking fucking energy drinks every single day, they're drinking 2 to 3 energy drinks every single day, and they're gonna tell me that crypto's a scam. Hey, hey, okay, all right. That, but yeah, I mean, crypto, there's this, you know what, let's talk about, fuck it, I'm just gonna mention it in passing. There's this story that's making the rounds of a Bored Ape NFT that was valued at $350,000, selling for $119. You may have seen this circle around if you're on Twitter or other stuff, right? And so, people are showing that as if the value of the Bored Apes are going down. Now, the value of Bored Apes aren't going down, but the value did not go from 350,000 to 119. Someone just made an incorrect transaction. It's called fat fingering, right? You press the wrong button on your thing, and they sold it for the wrong price on accident. It's not like someone said, I'm going to pay you $119, and they're like, well, it's going to go to zero, so I'll take what I can get. It was someone made a mistake. Right, if I don't know, if I work at 7-Eleven, right, and sometimes, you ever I don't know, let's say you're buying something at 7-Eleven, right, and the person accidentally scans something twice. Does that mean that the value of that item is all of a sudden doubled? No, it's a mistake, right? But again, people that don't know anything about crypto, right, well, there's a whole industry now, right? There's a whole industry of people that don't know anything about crypto that are trying to make money off of the fact that they don't know anything about crypto, right? And so what there's news like websites that will just take things that aren't real or just like present data. Like it's like, like what's that website where it's like correlations, like, I don't know that website, but it's like, amount of Nicolas Cage movies combined with like, deaths from carbon monoxide. Like there's this website or whatever that like has like weird things that are correlate or like that consistent, but they're not correlated. I don't know. But anyway, so people take data points that they don't understand, or at least are paid to purposefully misinterpret, right? And then they put them out to audiences that also don't understand it. And they think, 350,000 to 119 NFTs are crashing, when it's just someone making a mistake. It's like, if you rang something up at 7-Eleven 3 times and then, you paid for 1 bag of Twizzlers, or you paid for 3 bags of Twizzlers, but you only got 1, right? Because they fucking fucked it up, right? Like, is that a story? Sure. I think it's hilarious that rich people are able to fat finger and lose $300,000. I think that that's fucking funny. I think that that's funny that a rich person is like drunk or something and they're like, and they press the wrong button and then they're just willing to flesh that money around. That, to me, that's hilarious, right? But then you've got all these weirdos that are like, scam economy, lol, it's all crashing, and they don't know how to interpret the info, and they look like morons. And I don't know, man, it's just really funny to me. It's just really funny to me. But like, there's a whole industry of disinformation when it comes to crypto. You've got pro-crypto people that engage in disinformation. You got anti-crypto people that engage in disinformation, and it's just really stupid. It's really dumb. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Like this article that came out, I think I covered this. I don't know, maybe I did. There was like 92% of NFT market transactions are down 92%. And then you look into the reasoning, and it's because a lot of the marketplaces like crack down on scams, right? So it's like people are like, NFTs are all scams, right? The market cracks down on scams, and then people are like, look, NFTs are crashing. Like, first of all, like looking at transactions, that's not like really a good data point, right? Like if I give someone $2 and they give me $2, that's 2 transactions, but I start off with $2 and I end with $2 and it's 2 transactions, right? So, right, like that's not like, so when all the scams are removed, and again, like you can look at email, 70% of email traffic is spam. Does that make email evil? Anyone who's ever logged into an email account, they're a scammer now? They're a snake oil salesman for opening a Gmail all of a sudden? What? So if there's a lot of problems with NFTs, which no one denies, even people in the NFT communities, like they don't deny that there's scams, right? And art thieves and all that stuff. So when marketplaces start cracking down on that, that should be a good thing. That should be a good thing. But then people are like, look, they're crashing. Lol, crypto bros. It's like, but again, this is the thing, is there's a lot of financial illiteracy in left-wing spaces, and people take advantage of that. And there's this industry that's propping itself up of people that are making money by peddling disinformation on cryptocurrency. And again, it's in both sides, right? You can make money peddling disinformation in favor of crypto, like buy my fucking shitcoin, right? And then you can make money peddling disinformation against crypto in the form of like writing articles or making videos about stuff that you don't understand, right? My opinion is if I don't understand something, I stay out of it. That's my opinion. I know every time I start talking about crypto, I start ranting and raving. It's just, I hate stupid shit. I just hate stupid shit. By the way, someone in my fucking stream has a lot of money because Coinbase is now pumping. It's up 7% today. So keep in mind, I started talking about crypto at 10:43. This is when I started talking about crypto. It went from $53 a share to 57. So someone in my community is taking my advice, and I think you should be giving me money instead. But, I'm just saying. But anyway, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think that there's a lot of really dumb bullshit around it. That's my opinion. Also, whatever. And, there's a lot of crypto stuff that I don't understand. But you're not going to see me talking about, like, the fucking, like, quantum resistant algorithms and shit. Because I don't fucking know anything about that shit. Like, I don't understand why people think NFTs are so complicated. When I first heard about NFTs, I thought they were complicated, and then I looked at it, and then it's like immediately I understand what it is. But also, I love trading cards, right? I love Yu-Gi-Oh! I love trading cards. Pokemon I kind of liked when I was a kid, but Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh! You might know this. I've been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Games on my channel. I'm obsessed with trading cards in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game pre-2004. But anyway, NFTs are trading cards. That's what they are. That's it. Like okay, so you buy you can buy, like, people might know Magic the Gathering, right? Oh, what is the Black Lotus or Blue Lotus? I don't know what it is. Like, that sells for $300,000. It's a little piece of cardboard. It's a piece of cardboard. But it's art in some people's minds, right? That's what NFTs are. They're digital trading cards. It's just that simple. Like you can look at those, like, you know, Magic the Gathering releases, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, whatever card game releases cards, right? Some of them are purposefully made rare, right? You know, there's rares, super rares, all this stuff, right? And then maybe 20 years later, they stop producing those series, those sets, right? And then certain rare cards will go up in value. Like Blue Eyes White Dragon, right, from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Set is more valuable than a random card, common card from the latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Set. Why? Because it's an older card, right? You know, people like it. It's art. So that's NFTs. NFTs are digital trading cards. That's it. That's the only thing you need to listen to. That's all. That's it. And also, I don't know. There you go. I explained NFTs to you in a way that apparently people are unable to do so. But anyway, let's move on. Is goddamn Andrew Kohler in the chat? Because you're gonna like this one. Goddamn Kohler. So, this is a funny little thing. Alabama has a bill, right, that is intended to ban any healthcare for transgender people under the age of 19. But they made a mistake. And so I want to share with you this mistake. So they edited their legislation, because we talked about this when this bill first came into the debate sphere, right? Like, we talked about this, is that the language of this bill bans circumcision. So are they going to actually ban circumcision? What is circumcision? It is ripping and tearing a child's penis off when they're fucking just born for no reason. You fucking get weapons, right? And you violate their bodily autonomy and rip their genitals apart, sometimes causing mutilations that are irreversible, sometimes causing problems in health, sometimes making people be unable to have their sexual organs even function at all, right? For no reason. Oh, because my religious ceremony, I'm fucking stupid and I'm a religious nutbag and I think that I'm going to cut my kid's dick off. Anyway, so their bill actually banned circumcision in the language, right? So what did they do? They edited the bill that said asterisk except for male circumcision. Again, these motherfuckers, they have no problem with making all of their, children have, a reduced quality of sex for the rest of their life. That's what ripping your foreskin off does. It makes it so that sex as an experience is less valuable for the rest of your life. You're just ruining sex for them for no reason. Because, oh, my God told me to. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, my God, man. This fucking shit.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
Anyway, I just wanted to share that because it's really funny. Andrea is sometimes a very polite person. Sometimes. Every once in a while. So Joe Manchin voted against the Women's Health Protection Act in the United States Senate. It was 51-49. I want to play these comments from the vice president. who at this point in time was the acting president of the Senate. Now, again, with the filibuster, Joe Manchin was not the deciding vote here. There was 11 votes short of passing. So it needs to be understood Joe Manchin could have voted in favor of this, right, and it still wouldn't have passed. But in his mind, the message that he sends by voting against it is more valuable to him than the message he sends by voting for it, even though it had no chance of passing regardless of what he votes, right? So anyway, this is Kamala Harris's response. And now, again, I want to set the scene. Nancy Pelosi, the leader of the House of Representatives, currently doing all that she can in her power to ensure that there are anti-abortion Democrats in Congress. She is spending all of her money and resources campaigning on a corrupt Democrat who is against abortion, Henry Cuellar. And so, again, the Democratic Party is in disarray when it comes to messaging. You've got the House. The leadership in the House saying abortion is bad. We need to do all we can to make sure that there are more anti-abortion legislators in the House of Representatives. Then you've got the president of the Senate and the vice president of the United States, in this case Kamala Harris, saying basically the exact opposite. So let's watch.
I just presided over the Women's Health Protective Act vote, and sadly the Senate failed to stand in defense of a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And let's be clear, the majority of the American people
as of most recent polling I've seen is around 70%.
Believe in defending a woman's right, her choice to decide what happens to her own body. And this vote clearly suggests that the Senate is not where the majority of Americans are on this issue. It also makes clear.
You know, again, the Senate is an anti-democratic apparatus of slaveholders. That's what the Senate is. There is no any other definition of Senate, right? The only reason the Senate exists is to give slaveholders power. That's why they came up with it in the first place, because it's stage trash. That's why the Democratic caucus in the Senate is voted for by 41 million more people than the Republican caucus, right? So it's 50-50. But the delta in votes between the Democrat caucus and the Republican caucus, the delta is 41 million. So 41 million more people voted for one party, and yet it's 50-50. Right, again, the Senate is an institution that was founded upon the ideology of slavery. That's the only reason it was written into the Constitution. That's the only reason it's still here. That's the only reason the filibuster even exists, by the way, is, again, another remnant of the ideology of slavery. They used the filibuster. They made it up, by the way. It's not in the Constitution, right? So they made it up. The 60-vote threshold is completely made up. Who made it up? Slave owners and racists, right? They made it up during Reconstruction, right? And it got most of its use during the Jim Crow era to counter against civil rights legislation, right? So again, the Senate is an institution founded on the ideology of slavery. That is it. Full stop. It needs to be abolished. But anyway, let's continue.
That a priority for all who care about this issue, a priority should be to elect pro-choice leaders at the local...
Now again, as Kamala Harris is saying this, and she's not going to say anything about Pelosi, Pelosi is literally spending hundreds of thousands of dollars campaigning for anti-abortion candidates. I need everyone to really understand this. The Democratic Party is a clusterfuck right now.
At the local, the state, and the federal level. Because what we are seeing around this country are extremist Republican leaders who are seeking to criminalize and punish women for making decisions about their own body.
Now, one thing I want to say is that, in my opinion, and this is a little off subject, not really, but a little bit, the Republican crusade against abortion rights in this country is undeniably and inextricably linked to the Republican crusade against transgender rights going on in this country and gay rights going on in this country, right? The same people who are endorsing stripping healthcare access from people wishing to seek abortion healthcare are the same people wanting to strip access to healthcare for transgender people, for gay people, and so on and so forth. It's the same people and for the same reasons. The reasons are, right, Republicans are fascists. The ideology that they hold, right, is founded on genocide, right? But You can't kill 50% of the population. So what you do is you make all women, right? And in their world, women only, of course, because biology does not exist. Intersex people are going to be genocided and removed from society. Trans people are going to be genocided and removed from society. That's what their goal is, right? So they want to create half the population to be subservient second-class citizens. Amy Coney Barrett, Supreme Court Justice, uses the term to increase the, quote, domestic infant supply, right? And then they also want to expunge and destroy all queer people from this planet. That's their goal. And what they're doing this is with healthcare. That's why we need a fucking constitutional right to healthcare. That's what we need. That's what would fix all of these problems. We need Medicare for all and a constitutional right to healthcare, right? But you also see that a lot of these Roe v. Wade activists, and I want to say that these two movements are inextricably linked. This is an intersectional campaign, right? Trans people are in the same position as anyone who is having their right to an abortion being stripped away from them. Ultimately, what it is Republicans, because one party is doing this, Republicans destroying people's access to healthcare. That's what the root of this issue is, right? So I need to stop seeing all these fucking turf, loser, garbage, fucking morons that are going like, this is a women's issue. This has nothing to do with trans people, right? These motherfuckers that are seeing anytime someone says like, birthing person or something, right? People have this fucking conniption fit. You're erasing women. Shut the fuck up, motherfucker, right? This is, again, an intersectional issue. Republicans are wielding healthcare as a weapon against minority populations that they wish to control. They want to commit a genocide against trans and gay people, and they want to make women slaves. That is their goal. That is their Christian, nationalist, fundamentalist, evangelical ideology. That's what they want. They want to expunge all gay people and trans people from existence, just like the Nazis did with their book burnings, and they want to make women second-class citizens. Full stop. And the way that they're able to do this is by weaponizing access to healthcare. So again, we need this. We need to stop with this whole this is. I don't care about abortion. Oh, the trimesters, and I don't fucking give a shit, motherfucker. This isn't about the trimesters. This isn't about fetal viability. This is about motherfuckers weaponizing someone's access to healthcare. Full stop. We need to stop with it's a protection. The Supreme Court needs more cops because protesters. Stop with the sidetracking, okay? This is ultimately about people's access to healthcare, right? And again, the Democratic Party has been doing everything in its power to restrict people's access to healthcare, right? At every step of the way, when they could have actual serious healthcare reform, they choose not to, right? And this is what happens, right? This is the result of having a capitalist health insurance company, executive fucking controlled, owner controlled, slave style system and economy when it comes to healthcare in this country. So, anyway, and also the Democratic Party's in disarray. You got the House leadership voting and supporting for anti-abortion candidates. You've got the Vice President of the United States saying the exact opposite. Are they going to talk to each other in any capacity? Probably not. They're just going to give us mixed messaging the whole step of the way because the Democratic Party is professionally built to fail. That's their entire purpose, right? So, I don't know. Anyway. Whew. God damn. All right. We're going to get into the movie review portion of the program here. I've watched so many movies. I've honestly... What I've been doing lately is I've just been like getting really high and watching movies all day. So that's been kind of what I'm doing lately, and I'm trying to fucking think of like what did I watch yesterday? I don't remember. I gotta start like writing this shit down. I gotta start writing this fucking shit down. Right. I watched 2 movies yesterday. Yeah, that's right. I'm cultured. Yeah, that's right. I have culture. I am a woman of culture. All right. So, I've never seen this movie before, but yesterday I did some drugs and I watched for the first time Donald J. Darko. And this movie, I gotta say, this movie, usually I'm pretty good at following like a really bizarre plot lines. Usually I'm very good at this. But this movie, my God, I don't know if it was short-term memory loss from the various cannabis products I was ingesting, but I was having a very difficult time following this movie. And so, but anyway, this movie was really good. I just want to say, my favorite part of this movie, Donald J. Darko, was I love that they like had like several parts of the movie that were just like music montages. And so like, you know, like the part where he's going to school and it just plays like a full song, you know, and then like the ending where it just plays like a full song. I think more movies need to do that. One of my least favorite things that is in movies is when they like have like a music track play for like 10 seconds and then like I'm like, it's like, oh shit, this is a banger, I love this song, and then it's over, right? I love when movies like let a full song play, and I think that that's super cool. So I just want to say shout outs to the music in this movie. They did a really good job with the full music song, full song montages, and the rest of the music in this movie as well is pretty good. But wow, this movie's plotline, fucking bizarre. And I loved it. Now again, normally I'm very good with obscure plot lines. So I think I get this movie. Right? But I'm not sure. Right? And this is a movie that I'll definitely watch again. And I think on my second watch, I'll understand it a lot better. But yeah, this movie is very good. So anyway, like the mood of this movie, like the cinematography, like the way dialogue is spoken, right? Like just like the overall atmosphere of this film is top notch. I really enjoyed it, right? Like again, like, you know, just the mood, like the characters and the way they think and behave, and like, you know, the environment, like the world that they're in, right? So anyway, so you got Donald J. Darko, who has like some like form of schizophrenia or some sort of disorder where he like basically sees like ghosts or people talking to him essentially. And then there's elements of time travel, right? So the whole movie is the first, like, you know, up until the ending, right? The movie is one timeline, and then it like travels backward in time, but I'll get to that in a second. And so anyway, so near the start of the movie, it shows Donald J. Darko meeting one of his, like, you know, apparitions, right, in a golf course. And then he goes home, right, where that apparition tells him that there's like 28 days until the world ends or something. And then Donald J. Darko goes home to find out that his house got hit with a jet engine or something, like some mysterious plane engine, just the engine, not the plane, smashed into his bedroom in his house, but he was too busy sleepwalking in the golf course, so he survived a near-death experience. And then the whole movie takes place, and then it rewinds to that scene, and turns out he's dead, by the way, spoiler alert, but fuck you. Anyway, so the rest of the movie is basically exploring the character of Donald J. Darko, and so, like, he goes to a therapist of some kind. The therapist is, like, you know, in my opinion, not a really good therapist. But anyway, like, it explores, like, the inner consciousness of the main character, Donnie Darko, in a really interesting way. One of my favorite parts of this movie was the line where it's like, every human, or every life, all life on Earth, like, dies alone or something. In my opinion, that's the best line of the movie. And it's true, right? If you believe, which science has backed this up, but I believe this, if you believe that when your brain dies, like when your life ends, right? This is what I was thinking about, because I'm on drugs when I watched this movie, right? Like, when your life ends, right, your brain produces a unique combination of chemicals that results in, you know, when people, like die or whatever, and they get brought back to life, or, like, their heart stops and they die and they get brought back to life. A lot of people say that they saw God, or they saw, you know, all these kinds, saw, like, my life flash before my eyes. This has been scientifically backed up, is that when people die, right, their brain produces unique combinations that result in all kinds of experiences, right? And I would, you know, like the concept of every living thing on Earth dying alone seems true, because no one can join you in those hallucinatory experiences before death. Anyway, so I think that was a really good concept. But one of the other parts of this movie that I thought was really good was the Grandma Death character, who just like walks back and forth in the middle of the street to her mailbox, right? And then one of the other parts of the movie is that Donnie Darko is trying to deliver mail to her. And so I don't know, maybe on a second watch I could see some more angles on this, but you know, like throughout the movie, right, like she, like, you know, they drive down the street and almost hit her. There's like a meme in the movie, is that, you know, the 101-year-old who wrote a book in the movie universe called The Philosophy of Time Travel that Donnie gets his hands on, just walks around in the street and checks her mail all day. And so, yeah, I don't know what version of this movie I watched. People in the chat are talking about there's a different cut. I watched whatever version is on HBO Max. So if anyone wants to Google what version of this movie is on HBO Max, that's the one I watched. But I don't know. I didn't know that there was two versions. So just, like, let me know which one I saw. But anyway, so I think that, like, you know, it's, you know, there's a lot of time travel stuff. But anyway, so one of Donnie Darko's hallucinations, right, is that he sees someone in a bunny costume named Frank, and Frank is telling him to do a bunch of violent acts that I'm not quite sure why those actions were taking place, like, you know, burning down someone's house, revealing them to be a pedophile, and so of course, I mean, it's you know, that's righteous, right? You know, getting a pedophile arrested. One of my favorite parts of this movie is when Donnie is just like mouthing off to authority. I think that shit's super cool. Like, I mean, like, I was like, right, when he was telling that fucking like weird religious like fucking like teacher or whatever that, like, you know, like, you can't just put things into the world isn't binary, right? Like, you know, and then he gets in trouble and suspended for telling her to like shove a book up her ass. I thought that was great. You know, I don't know, I hate authority, right? So that was really good stuff. But anyway, so Frank, his hallucination, tells him to do a bunch of things that he does throughout the movie, but I don't quite know. Oh, like, again, this is a movie I'll probably watch a second time, and I might do a second review if I watch it again at some point. But I don't quite understand exactly what a lot of those actions were for. But anyway, at the end of the movie, you know, there's like a big crescendo at the end where it reveals that, you know, so the end of the movie takes place on Halloween or Halloween Eve or whatever. And so he finds out that Frank, who is in a bunny costume, is a real person who he ends up shooting at the end of the movie. Now, earlier, when his hallucination version of Frank exposes himself to him, like takes his bunny mask off, he sees that he has an eye that's been shot out. And at the end, you know, like his, you know, he doesn't have that eye that's shot out, and then he shoots his eye out. And so, you know, then that's the loop, right? So, like, you know, Frank or whatever, like, was the whole thing a hallucination, right? Like, did Donnie actually die? And then this was just like, I don't even know. Like, I don't know. I gotta watch this movie again. It seems that, yes, you watch the director's cut. I don't know what the differences are. I don't know which one is supposed to be better either. And so, you know, anyway, but, you know, whatever version, I'll maybe try to watch the other version. But anyway, really good movie. I love the part with, like, the fucking bullshit that comes out of their chests or whatever. That shit was cool as hell. Right? And then, you know, when you look into, like, you know, a little bit into the philosophy of, like, is there any such thing as free will? Do you actually have free will? Personally, I don't believe in free will. 2 hours, 14. This movie was not 2 hours and 14 minutes. The movie on HBO Max was like an hour and 50. So I guess I did not watch the director's cut then. But anyway, so anyway, you know, there's no such thing as free will. Personally, I don't think there's anything as free will is an illusion. It's a hallucination that's granted upon us by our conscious brains, in a way to, make us want to propagate the species, because if we were to perceive the world in such a way that there is no free will, that would probably make us depressed. And so our brains, evolutionarily speaking, have evolved to have the illusion of free will, which I believe does not exist, but I still have the illusion of it, right? So that's a complicated thing in my brain. But anyway, so they get into this in the sense that it's like, if you see like your future, you have the chance to change it. But Donnie Darko, of course, doesn't buy that bullshit, and so he, just follows the thing coming out of his chest. I don't know, it's really bizarre. I love the effects of this movie, really bizarre stuff. But anyway, I personally don't believe in free will. I think that time is all fixed. I think everything that has ever happened has already happened, and everything that ever will happen has already happened. Time is as fixed as a dimensional space, as a dimension as space, in that sense. So, but anyway, that's a whole different story. Anyway, this movie was really good. Like, again, the mood, the atmosphere, right? All really, really, like, top notch. And again, like, I'm super into movies that, like, are movies you don't just watch once, right? Like, this is a movie I feel like I'll probably watch a couple more times. And so I'm into it. I'll definitely watch this again. But I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff I'm missing here, but this is my analysis after watching this movie the first time. And I know that there's a sequel. Given the chat, people have very mixed opinions on the sequel. Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But it appears I watched the standard edition on HBO Max, because it was around 150 minutes. So anyway, maybe I'll watch the director's cut next. I don't know. But anyway, really good. I liked it. It was a really good movie. I thought it was super chill, very fun. And again, for me, I know a lot of people have a hard time following complicated movies. I know, like, for me, usually I'm very good at following complicated plots. But like, this one got me. I was very confused at the end, and I had to think about it a little bit. And I'm still not quite sure if I quite understand what it is supposed to be saying, but also I'm under the impression this movie is designed to be watched multiple times to really get the full plot. So, how many inches of shrooms do you recommend taking before watching this movie? I did not watch this movie on shrooms, unfortunately, but next time I will. So I'll let you know next time I review the film. But yeah, good ass film. Donald J. Darko, excellent character, by the way, excellent character. And just really good movie. I really liked it. I don't know, really good. Endorsed. Actually, let me turn it back on, because Sal made me want to talk more. I think I understood what was happening really until the ending. I mean, I get the ending. I understand how the ending, like, is the whole thing a hallucinate? Like, who knows, right? Like, is he a ghost? Is it all like, is it his near-death experience? Like, he dies, but then, like, he hallucinates, like, what he would have happened if he didn't die. Like, there's a lot, there's a lot going in there. But, like, yeah, like, I followed the plot pretty well up until, like, the ending, because it's open, like, it's an open to interpretation kind of thing, which I like. I like movies that are open to interpretation, that don't really have, like, fixed answers. But anyway, like, yeah, like, the movie was very bizarre. It was very hard to keep track of why and how and when and all these things were occurring. And I still don't quite understand why Frank had told Donald J. Darko to commit those violent acts or whatever, like, destroying a school or burning a house down. I don't quite understand why that was a thing, other than maybe to pad the movie out. But anyway, good movie. I endorse it. There you go. Mila, oof, no free will. I strongly disagree. Mila, I challenge you to a live stream debate. You got to come on the Above It All experience. You and I are going to face off. Is free will real? Mila versus Andrea. The showdown? Would the film cause you to have nightmares? Probably. After the first viewing, I thought he fell into a wormhole right when the death occurred. That's also possible. My interpretation is that it's a hallucination and a near, like a, pre-death experience. And my reason for believing that is from the line that he talks to his therapist about every life on Earth dies alone. That's the reason why I think it's a pre-death hallucination. That's my interpretation. Which I believe in. I was like, fuck yeah! That goes back into my whole living memory theory, where it's like, are we even alive right now? Like, did we actually live? Are these our actual lives? Or are we all having a pre-death hallucination? Like, is our life flashing before our eyes before we die, and we're only remembering the good parts, right? Think about it. Like, what were you doing yesterday at 11:31 a.m.? Can you remember exactly where you were 24 hours ago? No, right? When you sleep, right, your brain, when you sleep, your brain recycles, duplicate memories, right? So if you brush your teeth all the time, your brain's not going to, like, spend time and energy remembering every time you brush your teeth, right? So, my opinion. Testing. Did my stream disconnect? Testing. But anyway, are we all just remembering our lives? Are we all just remembering the good parts? I mean, I think about this in regards to PTSD, right? Like, a lot of the symptoms of PTSD is memory loss. Like the having memories that are repressed, right? So it's like, that's the brain saying, it's not a good thing to store these memories. Let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of them. And then if you get rid of them, did they really ever happen? And if they didn't happen, does it affect you? I don't, there's all these things to think about. But Mila, let's debate free will. I'm in. All right, let's get into the next movie that I saw yesterday. Yesterday was watching Bangers. And so I checked out this film. This is called Scanners. This is a film. This is a filmographic experience. And it's a film. So this is a film that exists. And it's a film. Anyway, so I watched this movie. It was fucking great. I just want to say, my favorite part of this movie was when that motherfucker's head explodes at the beginning. When that motherfucker's head explodes at the beginning, that was great. Now, I'm aware that there's sequels to this movie. Not sure if I'm going to delve into them. We'll see. But this movie was really good. I mean, it's 1981, right? And it's definitely 1981, right? I thought this movie had a lot of, really, bizarre acting, right? Really, bizarre dialogue delivery, right? I really, just, the way that the main character, I think, all the scanners are, supposed to be, autistic or something, because they all talk in this really strange way, but it's, written in, a way where it's, neurotypical people are writing about how they perceive autistic people to be. That's what this movie feels like, because all the main characters have this really strange way of delivering their dialogue, and to me, as an autistic person, I'm like what? But, it's very weird. But anyway, that aside, it's 1981, so what are you gonna do? Anyway, so the plot. So there's people that have just random abilities that they're psychics. They have ESP. They can control people's minds, their heart functions, the way that they breathe, that kind of stuff, right? And as the poster says, there are 4 billion people on Earth. 237 are scanners. 4 billion people on Earth in 1981. We've doubled in 40 years. That's crazy. But anyway, so there's very few of people that have a unique ability. And it's basically later in the movie, spoiler alert, they find out that a certain kind of experiment caused them to have this ability. But anyway, they have this ability to read each other's minds or whatever. And the thing about this movie that I like that is food for thought is that isn't it crazy? Think about this for a moment. Listen to me here. Okay. Isn't it fucking insane that like I'm speaking right now, right? Like I am opening my mouth and words are coming out. But as I am speaking, I've got I'm speaking as well in my brain, right? I'm thinking, as we call it, but it's still speaking in a way, right? So my brain, I'm thinking about something entirely different while I'm talking, right? I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat for breakfast. I'm thinking about, like, can I fucking stop this fucking stream already? I gotta pee, right? While I'm talking, right? So isn't it crazy, right? That people have these, like, streams of thought and conscious, like, you know, thought in their brains at all times, the internal monologue, right? So the idea of this movie is that basically, like, there's a scene at the beginning where, like, the guy is in a room and there's, like, a bunch of people and they're all thinking, like, wow, this is so cool, I get to watch it. They're all, like, watching him as an experiment or whatever. But he's hearing all of their inner monologues, right? And, like, it's, you know, it was just super interesting to think about, like, right? Like, everyone's got an inner monologue, right? Some people think it's, like, God talking to them because they're fucking stupid, right? But, like, what if you're able to, like, you know, just read other people's minds? You know, I think they did a really good job of showing how that would be. A lot of people think, oh, you can read someone's mind. It's like you, like, look at them and you target them and then you only read their mind or some shit. But, like, you know, I love how, like, the scanners are just, like, recluses from society, right? They're all fucked up because they're just, like, they're walking around, right? And they're listening to everyone's thoughts all the time. And there was this one line that was, like, you know, like, this, like, the main character or whatever didn't have a sense of self because he couldn't, like, determine what his own inner monologue was versus all the inner monologues of every person he was ever around all the time, right? And that's such an interesting thought, right? Because it's like, and that's, like, I think how people, like, start to believe in God or some stupid shit, right? Is it, like, if you don't know that your inner monologue is just a production of your conscious experience, right? Then you might think it's someone talking to you, or you might not really attach that to yourself, right? That's how people, like, believe in God and stuff. Anyway, this movie, the effects, right? I love the effects, people's heads exploding, right? Like, the fucking, their skin falling off, that shit's crazy. The effects in this movie were phenomenal. And, you know, I love, you know, the plot was okay. Like, you know, the twist at the end was okay. I know that there's sequels. You know, maybe I'll watch the sequels. I'm not sure. But I mean, like, this movie, I mean, again, so the concept, really interesting. Execution, pretty decent, right? It's 1981. Keep that in mind, right? The effects, pretty good. And, you know, the plot, very fun. You know, there's, like, you know, people chasing down the scanners, but then it turns out they're another scanner, they're another kind of scanner, and then one of the scanners is trying to build, like, a scanner army to go against humanity or something. You know, it's all that kind of, it's interesting. I would say it's definitely worth watching. I saw the little poster here when I was browsing movies, and I was like, yo, look at this poster, I gotta watch it. Like, look at this guy. Like, this guy, right? Like, this guy is cool as hell. Look at this. I'm gonna zoom in. Look at this fucking art. Like, that's cool. That's fucking cool. I was like, yo, I want to watch this fucking movie. I want to watch this goddamn movie because look at this guy. And I was not disappointed. So that's Scanners. Decent movie. I liked it. There you go. David Cronenberg's films are up your alley. I will check them out. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I may have seen that. BB had a mind-numbingly boring debate about free will. I watched the first few minutes live but had to bail. So stupid. When? I would love to debate Ben Burgess on free will. Though, I don't know, like, I know he gets really upset, like, when you criticize his take on, like, political events, but, like, would he get equally as upset over philosophical things? Like, I don't know, like, how much is, like, Ben Burgess being a baby versus, like, Ben Burgess, like, being a baby about a certain subject matter, right? Like, would his baby status, like, translate from political conversations to philosophical ones? I'm not sure, but I'd love to have that conversation. I personally don't believe in free will. Altered States, I've heard of it. I should check it out. I'll add it to my list. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I can state my position on free will. In fact, I'm going to make a segment out of this, because why not? Free content. All right. Free will, does it exist? My postulation is no, it does not exist. But why do we experience free will, right? Okay, so we experience free will because, you know, what is free will ultimately? It's just a conscious experience, right? It's the experience of being alive, being conscious on this planet, right? You know, if you are in a coma, you don't have free will. Why? Because you're not conscious, right? So anyway, I believe free will Well, first of all, I believe consciousness is a controlled hallucination. I believe that there's really no such thing as reality. I believe that reality and the way we interpret reality are almost entirely different. There might be some sort of similarities, but the way we interpret reality is human-centric. And so, again, what does red look like? If you show red to an alien, are they going to see red? What is red? Red, so there you go. That's, if you try to describe what red is to someone who's colorblind, they're not going to be able to really understand it. How do you describe what red is, right? So the human experience is very tailored to our, sensory organs. And it's also like we have to understand what is the root cause of all life on Earth. What is our main goal? To propagate the species, right? And how do we propagate the species? By staying alive for as long as we possibly can. What makes it easier to stay alive? Well, being able to interpret things in colors, right? Seeing the difference in colors, being able to make out certain objects, right? Why do we have two eyes? To perceive depth between objects, right? How we get there and what's the difference between that and there, right? So anyway, my postulation is the same way that we experience red as being red, we experience everything in a way that's not necessarily tethered to any objective reality. I believe, emotions, I think, are hallucinations in their own might. I think that what we see, everything we experience are hallucinations to some degree, but the brain just hones them in and processes them in a way that's consistent over time, because one of the things that our brain is good at perceiving is change, right? So as long as things are consistent over time, like red doesn't turn into blue, right? Why? Because then all hell would break loose. If you are seeing red and then you wake up the next day and all your red stuff is blue, whoa, that's crazy, right? So anyway, so this goes into, that's how I believe about every aspect of the human experience. I believe every aspect of the human experience is completely subjective to one, the human, right? Like humanity, I should say, the human form, how the brain works, the human DNA, whatever, right? But then part two of that is, I think, all conscious experience is subjective to the individual, the actual human perceiving these things, right? Like, how is it that we live in a society where people can see the same thing and get two entirely different interpretations? How is that possible, right? How did, like the classic fucking, the sweater bullshit, right? How is that possible? Well, it's possible because each human has a slightly different way of interpreting the world, and sometimes, right, they clash when talking to other humans. But anyway, on free will, I believe free will in, I don't think there's anything special about free will. Right, we see red as red, even though red isn't actually red. But free will, that totally exists, right? No. I think free will is as much of a hallucination as every other aspect of being a human. I think that free will is beneficial for us to live in, the way that we have free will. A lot of people say, what's the difference between the illusion of free will and free will? So if you have the illusion of free will, you might as well have free will. Okay, but that's a paradox, right? It doesn't really mean anything. But I do agree, right? The illusion of free will, is as good as free will, sure, right? We're good. But I do think that free will is an evolved, state of, again, propagating the species, and by, focusing and honing in on individuals' ability to survive, right? Does an ant have free will? I don't know. Do you, have you studied ants, enough to know, when does free will occur? Do dogs have free will? Right? Do bacteria have free will? I don't know. When we see other creatures and other life forms behaving and acting, do we see them as just reacting to stimuli, or just trying to, do we see them as making choices when they're reacting to stimuli? So my opinion is we all make choices every single day of our lives, but our choices are influenced by our subconscious, by the way that our brain has collectively interpreted the world up until this moment, and has led to these decisions being made. Again, I think that free will is a useful tool, but it's as real as the color red. It's as real as, any other human emotion or experience. I think free will is as real as happiness. If you try to describe happiness, right, in an objective reality, what is happiness? It's the feeling of being happy. I think free will is in the same territory as happiness. But anyway, that's my opinion on free will. I don't believe in that shit, but also my body is built to believe in it, so what's the difference? Mila, save this for the debate. If you say we don't have free will, does that not absolve people of responsibility of their actions? No, I mean, we all live in a... I mean, we can talk about rehabilitation. All right, the segment's going on. We can talk about rehabilitation, right? Like, if someone murders someone and they're in a like, if you believe in the concept of rehabilitation, right? You believe someone can commit a gruesome act of violence. Let's say they murder their wife or whatever, right? And then you spend 20 minutes in a rehabilitation facility. And out the other side, you are no longer the same person. You entered that rehabilitation facility. Now you think that murder is ethically, morally the most disgusting thing in the world, right? And so on and so forth, right? I believe in rehabilitation, right? So I think that if you change the circumstances in someone's life, you change how they perceive the world. And so free will doesn't mean that everyone is just gets a free pass, because we live in a society, right? If everyone is under the interpretation that free will doesn't exist and they just go out and start raping people for fun or whatever, I mean, again, we live in a society. We have to act as if we live in a society. But at the same time, right, you can change. We can change how people perceive the world, right? Like when you put people in prisons as they are constituted right now, we change how they perceive the world, typically for the worse, right? We surround them with other criminals, right, that are constantly feeding into their narratives, and we make them resent society and the world around them for producing such a fucked up system known as the prison industrial complex, right? So I don't know. I believe that, you know, all these things are related. And all of these things can be changed, and all of these things are fluid and subjective at all times. So there you go, Mila. Checkmate. Yep, happiness does not exist. Yeah, I mean, like, again, ultimately it boils down to, like, a philosophical conversation of, like, what is real? Right? Like, what is real? Like, what does real mean? Like, is my phone real? Like, if an alien looked at this, they wouldn't see a phone, right? They would just see, like, a hunk of, like, atoms, like, strewn together in such a bizarre fashion, right? Like, what is real? Like, this is, we call this a phone, right? This is my cell phone. Would that make it objectively a cell phone? Right? Like, I don't know. Anyway, I gotta use the bathroom. So, that's the show. Thank you all for watching. You all have a good day. I will see you tomorrow.
The really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ. And then they have cans of soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick, because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick, because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup from my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do. country needs a strong Republican Party. Needs a strong Republican Party.
No, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce.